Let's record.
You're starting right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm like trying to figure out if I have my thoughts formulated or not. Like I might just start like in 2 seconds. I might start in like 3 minutes. I don't know.
Starting 3 minutes. I'll be back.
Alright, you might miss some stuff.
I need one. I need.
Sorry, 3-minute run. Hey, this is the fucking pacer test. Do I not have to do the fitness graph?
No, I have to do it.
Like, I hated that.
Really? I used to think it was so fun. Because that's when I still played soccer, so I was super run.
I could run, but not very well.
I used to compete with my friends to see who could get more. It was fun. It's like a game.
So, I took this stuff from like a small group of people who've become like this like a somewhat authority on like why our spaces are not conducive to the best health in people or whatever, or like how they're not as comfortable as they can be. And it's like they're basically critiquing like all of contemporary design, like every design magazine, every architecture magazine, like everything. They're just like critiquing like and saying everything is inhumane and bad. And I've been listening to these guys, and they make a lot of really good points. So I have a bunch of drawings done by this guy named Nikos Salingaros that I just like put together. I'll talk about them one by one, but he's a mathematician and a physicist, and he teaches mathematics. But he decided, I guess, that like our buildings are more important than for him to like spend time analyzing, and he like just decided to like analyze the built environment, and like just critique it very harshly. And then I have other drawings by Christopher Alexander, who like also studied the built environment and tried to describe why our spaces function well or not. So I'm gonna talk about that stuff. And I saw this stuff initially like 8 years ago, and like it's been on my mind since then. So like these thoughts have been like these things have been lingering, and it's just like I'm gonna share some of them. Oh, by the way, this would be good for her to see, but she's gonna miss it. Like I sketched out the handout for today before I like fully typed it up, and like I feel like you have to get your thoughts out quickly while you have them, because this is good timing. So I have a handout for today, and I haven't passed it out yet. But I was just saying, like, I sketched it out before I like fully typed it up and printed it. And then if I hadn't finished this, I would have just had the, and this is what you did. No, I'm not critiquing. I'm just.
What did I do?
Sketch. Put your sketches on your boards, like. Draw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you too. I don't know if you'd rather draw by hand or whatever.
I'd
but
rather
like.
draw by hand.
It depends on what it is.
Yeah. But like that board, you could have filled up the whole. I don't know. I'm going off on tangents.
Okay, go ahead.
We're talking about designing for the human. And so this first one, this is a sketch by the the first guy, Nikos Salingaros, and he's saying that, or so these are two different models of human inhabitation, and like I also naturally gravitate towards like this more, but he's saying that like everything is pushing us to do this, like this is like a globalized strategy, but we want stuff that's more localized, like we want localized, like program that have. Well, we'll talk about this more. Okay, so he's critiquing like a lot of the high rises that are built and saying like it doesn't feel very human when you approach it or when you. So this is like an older. That's crazy. It's like this is the older model, but like no, this is like he's saying that it's better to like break it down where the human experiences it and add geometry. So, and the reason we add geometry is because like if you're a human being like experiencing a space and you're just walking by and there's just like no articulation next to you for a really long time, it just feels really weird. Like you don't feel like a human anymore. Like you want space to be articulated. So this is a sketch he did of. I think this is just like showing. I think he traced some city. I don't know what city, but it's certain points and people walking through, showing the connectivity. Huh?
It looks like a frog.
Like a what? Oh, it does. Holy crap.
I thought that's what it was. A true frog.
Yeah, like he could have totally inserted a frog and been like, I'm drawing a frog in plan and like, or like, I mean, I do that stuff. I want you guys to do that stuff. Like, if you have an image you like, find a way to incorporate it into your projects also. So this is another one that he drew, and he's saying that you want to give people options with your circulation, and you can give them the option to go from D to B or D to C or A to B and be able to either experience the stuff along the way or just walk through it. And so this is, and by the way, these are the arguments of this guy named Nikos Salingaros. You weren't here when is this dude's thing? And this one, he's saying that you have these points and you have the circulation and it looks beautiful in plan, but this is really not a well-functioning space. Because you're making people walk all the way around to go here. Like, no, you want this. But this just looks cooler as a diagram. So people make circulation like, but like, huh? That's what?
Confusing.
What's confusing?
Why make people color?
Yeah, exactly. Because the diagram looks cool. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you draw that, like we draw diagrams like this, but like it's better to do the thing that like actually works than what looks. Well, it depends. So here, this is an argument he's making about fractals. He's saying we don't want space to be like this. We want space to be fractal, and then we want fractals on the fractals, which makes it the fractal. So the word I was using before was not good. We want articulation on the articulation, which makes it the fractal. And then here, they're showing how two circulation paths that have different logics and different patterns can lead into each other. And this can be an opportunity to create like either like some kind of living space or like some kind of shopping or whatever, like not plaza. What do you call it? A space with like little shops or whatever, or little houses. And these can be like, and this is very like not to scale. They're just showing like you have like a primary circulation path, which has more traffic, and at least a smaller circulation path, which leads to your program. And this like can apply to cities or buildings. So this sketch, they're showing levels of scale. Another one. So another argument they make is these like dense types of housing like take up a lot of fossil fuels and they're not the best for the for the human inhabiting them, apparently. I don't know. It's just like a weird model to build all these like just concrete boxes. So there's this thing about I don't know how old this is. Donald Duck finds square eggs, I think is the thing it's called. I mean, they should call it. So Donald Duck finds eggs that are cubes, but like obviously, we don't find cubes in nature. I mean, maybe we like, but do we? Like, I don't think so. I don't think like that's where we find humans. Like, we find these like cubes where we find humans, and that's we're just imposing like this abstracted version of geometry and space onto people. We're just like,
Hi,
but we never find that in nature. Who's that?
it's Ushank here. So can you please share your screen?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you share your screen, please?
No, I'm showing this. By the way, I'm gonna mute you. Sorry.
Okay.
I think we cannot
I
hear
think
you.
you muted yourself.
I thought I'm. Ushan, can you? Oh, thank you. Oh, you guys. I don't know what you guys missed, but the cube is something that
Actually,
the human
are
imposes.
you
We don't
able
find.
to
That's why
share the
that's what makes it so
screen?
shocking. So, but if we're going to impose cubes, we might as well give them fractals because it creates a better space to inhabit.
What's a fractal?
A fractal is when like you have a type of geometry at one scale and you have it at a bigger scale, and they keep feeding into each other, and you could keep repeating it and growing it. So you see, like this is this, and this, and then the small image reflects the big image, and then if you do 4D, it's going to be the big image again, even bigger.
Yeah.
So fractal. And this fractal is actually taken from a smartphone antenna. What was the word? Yeah, it's called a smartphone fractal antenna. It's in a lot of smartphones, and it's like this shape, and it's in there, and like it gets you better reception. So this is what Nikos Salingaros says is a good example of laying out a plan.
Just a second. Sorry for interrupting. Those guys want you to share your screen.
They can see this.
No, actually no.
What? Oh, because.
Yeah.
Well.
You just have to share your screen.
It's right next to the microphone.
Yeah.
It's like the little
Next-
up arrow.
Next to the leave button.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You just share your screen. Yeah, the screen. You have to just click on the screen.
Which one is it? This one?
The one below.
This?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, you guys see it now?
We can see it now.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, so I'll just go back to some of the sketches then. Here's the first one. This is globalized versus localized, and I think we want to shoot for localized, unless we can argue like for I don't know. So this is showing a high rise with bad human scale articulation and good human scale articulation. Yeah, the fractals, multiple scales. All right. All right, and this one, I didn't talk about it, but it's just, now that I see it, maybe I'll talk about it. This is like an Ethiopian cross, and he's saying that this is a good example of articulation at multiple scales. And I don't even know if he used that word, but I've been listening to these lectures for pretty long time, and I'm like paraphrasing stuff, but it's like but I'm like also like, never mind. Huh?
You got it.
I got what?
You got it.
So this is Alhambra Palace in Spain. This is what Nikos Salingaros argues is a good way to articulate spaces, to break down mass for the human, instead of having like just a big open space that the human being doesn't know what to do with. You have this, and it's like I don't disagree. You know, like I'd rather be in a space articulated like this than just a big cube, a massive cube that I'm just in, and I don't know what I'm doing in. So I personally like columns. I don't know. A lot of people say like they want like a columnless space that just has big, huge spans, but I don't know. I feel like columns give scale to space. So this is gated communities where you have to go everywhere with your car. You can't like, you're kind of isolated. And then we have the plan of Rome, where you live where, and then where you have public activities also, and so you could go anywhere. So 3 examples of fractals that we can use in space. We'll talk about this one. You have a half circle, a half circles on a half circle, and more. You have this one, which you could have instead of having a straight edge, you can add crinkles, and then you can add crinkles on the crinkles, and then the crinkles on the crinkles make it a fractal. And this creates like opportunities to have activities feed into one another. And then you really should break down an edge into spaces that can be circulated through. And this also like somehow has an MDF practice. I mean, it's somehow, but it's because like you can articulate these slightly differently, and then it becomes like a play like that. So this is another one. So this dude, Christopher Alexander, is who I think Nikos Salingaros based a lot of his arguments after, and there's this free book called Pattern Language. It's like probably a couple hundred pages, and there's some really good stuff in here. And sometimes I reference it and I recommend it. It's just like if you Google, you'll find the PDF. So these are sketches of program and circulation as they relate to like cities and buildings. A way to diagram if you have like a busy street and you have a less busy street, and then you have more public living where people want to live around other program, and then you have more private living that's like on a smaller circulation path. This can apply to like human walking circulation and activities, or it can apply to like streets and individual buildings. Alcoves, the idea of alcoves. When we have the fractals and the crinkles on the crinkles, that helps us create alcoves. So this is what we get, basically, when we have too much space where we don't articulate anything. And I like the idea of not programming space, but if we don't program it, we still should give it some geometry. Because if we don't, like this is what happens when you don't give cities geometry. And it's like, and this also, like this type of thing happens when we don't give spaces geometry. The human just like doesn't know, like how do you inhabit this? Like how do you inhabit a massive space where your scale doesn't relate to? So this kind of the idea of Spanish steps is another good one. You take a circulation path, that's circulation anyway, and use it to allow other program to feed other program. And people can have multiple options of how to sit in the space or stand in the space. So this one is about, it's a sketch of, I think this is Rome again, because a lot of people feel that the proportions they had there are actually the closest. And this is showing like you have, if you're trying to break down a large volume, you can break it down into two smaller volumes that create two plazas, and you can always see what's in front of you. It's not like it doesn't go past your vanishing point, which would also maybe make it uncomfortable. And then you have some kind of program between the two plazas. And I can't disagree. I feel like that's a pretty damn good way to break down space. This is basically diagramming the levels of privacy, which you can incorporate into your designs. And we can all so it's basically like it's most public to most private, and the geometry is basically doing that. And then here again, most private to least private. Showing how we can use more paths to create the more public and less paths to create the less private. And through circulation, naturally, it will become more private and less private. And these give us the tools to design the spaces that we design. Light. Oh, this is something I wanted to, oh, yes. So if anyone's doing inside the garage, I would like you guys to cut out from the top and like dash in what you're cutting out, because there's too much space in there where you don't get light. And we need something like this that brings in light from up top, and they shouldn't be too far away. We shouldn't have any spaces that don't get any daylight. So if you're working in the garage, like we need cuts from the centers that bring in light. And by the way, even if you're not, like maybe you want to have a volume up there that you're going to cut holes out of, dash them in. And it should relate to the program below. Like it shouldn't just be like, you know. I saw this sketch in here. I don't know how digitally you would do this, but this would be like a crazy way to show like, I don't know, like a natural edge of cultivated plants going wild. I don't know. By the way, I feel like we're moving forward into the next assignments, like having gained like knowledge and gained geometry from the last assignments, and we can like use our last project to push our next one, which we should be doing anyway. So this is an idea of giving people multiple ways to use the space. Like you have different options of how to sit, and you have circulation that goes around it. And the circulation invites the person to use the space, but also gives them the option to go around the space and go do whatever they're doing. So this would be probably an example of like designing something that you don't want to be anxiety inducing. Like we don't want our, like if people are going to work like and they're like stressed out, like the buildings around them make them even more stressed out after some time, they're going to be more likely to like, get sick, not recover from colds or whatever, and just our spaces should not induce anxiety. So we can like imagine inhabiting our spaces while we're designing it, and like how would we want to use the space. These are other sketches by Christopher Alexander. Just, let's read what they are. Hundreds of different subcultures, subculture boundaries. Hundreds of different subcultures, subculture boundaries. I feel like that's an interesting way to think about programming circulation. Circulation is a subculture boundary, or no, is defined by a subculture boundary. And program is hundreds of different subcultures. Okay, what's this one? Square miles, half-acre lots, country roads. Mosaic of subculture, the heterogeneous city of ghettos. Country fingers at least 1 mile wide. Okay. So this is an example of a space you probably don't want to enter and a space you probably do want to enter. Like when you articulate scale at the level of the human, it just you have an entrance, you know what to do with it. I mean, this looks like, honestly, it doesn't even, so they're cheating with this one. This doesn't even have it, like, you can't even enter any of these. But even if this did go down, like, I wouldn't want to, like, I want articulation at my, like, a human size. I don't want a big box that looks good in floor plan, but like, the person has no idea how to use it. So this is just showing us that, like, if we have a piece of geometry in our pattern that's too big and we want to break it down, you can break it down anyway. Like, you could cut it up into pies, you could offset it, you can slice it, you can do the flower of life in there. You can break up your geometry, and this would work. Like, if it's a thing of all circles, like this is going to make just the human know how to inhabit this way better. You know, this can become multiple entry options. These can become articulations of material or like interior walls. Like instead of just the big circles, you have no idea what to do with when you're inside. Unless if it's like a human site, like a 300 square foot circle, that's cool. But if it's like a 2,000 square foot circle, like you really need articulation in there. So this is I think this is a good case study. I really think this is an appropriate way to look at designing an office space. Oh, and the interior of it, I was looking at. I thought this was interesting. They had like this table. It's just like a massive table, and it breaks off into like smaller tables, and it's like and it's kind of, the geometry is organic. Like it doesn't, like, it's not modular. It's like, it looks like it's uniquely designed to go around and cut off into different scales of table. Oh, and this is I'm just saying, like, if you don't know where to get geometry from, go to the Vorna. You know, like I've gone to anime because I feel like these shapes, I mean, I didn't design this, but like I just found the similar, like this could have easily been designed off of that. This was designed off of that. This is an existing building. And then this I just collaged together. I don't know if Brian Canley listens to Jay-Z, but like I just saw some floors and some Brian Canley drawings, and then I'm like, you get inspired by an album cover and use that to tell the archaeologists of the future, like, hey, I designed this space and I used to listen to this music. You know, like, it's encoded into the space I designed. So this is the last one. I don't know if I'm gonna email this or put it on the OneDrive or something, but I'll get this to you guys. It's this. I'm gonna pass it out to whoever's here, and then maybe I'll email it on. I'll put it in that. So, like, we have certain elements that make up like large office spaces. Like, we need a front desk, we need conference rooms, we need phone booths, and those can be designed multiple ways. We need hot desks, we need private offices. Like, it would be nice to have vertical circulation. Like, and I put this as an image because when I was back here, Heather Peterson showed me this image, and like this, like I've been thinking about this image since back then. Like this mine, and this could be like a circuit, like just imagine you're just cutting through your space below, and like multiple floors are being able to circulate with some space to get light in there. And then a kitchen. So that's all. I'm gonna stop recording. Let me know any questions, whatever, comments, concerns. All right. Oh shit.